Hello YouTube, RJ. Hey, in the last video we were building the Pirate Pete's regen receiver, and I got to the point where I was going to go off and think about how to build the coal and intended to come back, but realized the video was getting pretty long, so I went ahead and ended it there. So we're picking up today. I've just come back, started building a coal, and we're going to go through that, and we're going to go ahead and finish this thing up. Right now the lab is a disaster, so I'm going to clean up while you guys finish catching up. See you in a few. Okay, I'm back. Well, I wasn't sure how this was going to work, so I went ahead and started building this off camera. And what I've done is they want you to wrap your coal around a AA battery. So I measured it and I found out a 1/2 inch dowel was basically exact same size. So I got a piece of 1/2 inch wood dowel and used that as my form. And instead of using their little insulated rinky-dink wire, I used pure copper wire, so that I wouldn't have to take lacquer off. Now that means you can't have anything touching, but that's okay. I'll show you why. So what I've done is, get it here and make sure you can see, I've soldered tap wires in the right positions on the coals for the right number of coals and stuff. And so what I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead now and get everything looking pretty good. These coals spread apart, looking good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Q-dope on it. That's going to glue it all together. She's looking pretty good right there. I'm going to make sure I get Q-dope around these areas where I've soldered these wires on, and that's going to insulate and protect it from shorting later on. And then I'm going to glue this rod down on the piece of wood. I'm going to mount this on, hook my taps up, and cross fingers. If we're lucky, everything's going to go good. So let's get a little Q-dope on this rascal. And I'm going to grab me. Not that the stuff's toxic or anything, but who wants to have to clean it off their hands? So let me grab a couple gloves, put on. And that way, I'm not going to get it on me. And I'm not going to have to peel it all off. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is get this side here where these taps are on really good. And glue them good, let them just set up a little. I'm going to slather it on around those rascals. Okay, we let that dry a little. Those coals should not be moving anywhere. Now, I'm going to hang this up, let it dry for a little bit somewhere. Okay, we're back. The coal dried, hardened, whatever you want to call it. It turned out really well. Everything is solid. Nothing's going to move. Nothing's going to short. So what I did was I went ahead and since you last saw me, what I've done off camera is I just screwed on the little standoffs on the board. Okay, I'm going to attach those. I went ahead and took the copper coal wires and clipped them in the little clips. Make sure you can see. I'll get you a good view here. The little clips. And I took the taps and soldered just as the directions tell you. Okay, the 2-wire one goes into A and then on and on and on. So now your dip switches control what part of the coal you're using. Okay, so if you have these all off, if all of these are in the off position here, the whole coal, the whole 40 turns is being used. So I went ahead and of course we had the battery we hooked up. This is one of those 3.5 audio jacks that I ordered, and the little board that you could use on a proto board. I just grabbed one of those, so I'm already using them. Told you they'd be handy. And I went ahead and soldered up the rings together and the sleeve and brought it over and plugged it in here so we can hook up our amplified speakers to try this this toy out. So I don't have an antenna hooked up, and I guess we're kind of ready to try this thing out. So what I want to do now is I'm going to get the amplified speakers over here, and let me reach over and grab a cable, and let me stick a cable on the audio. I'm sorry, on the signal generator. And I have my little coil I'd made up before when we were messing around with the other one, and I will use it. See if I can get the cable out of your view this time. It's the best I can do. So anyway, we're going to have that, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to turn on the signal generator, generate some frequencies, and we're going to figure out where we are on this thing and play around and see if it receives, see if it turns on at all, we get any audio, can we receive any signals, and then if we can receive signals, what I want to try to do is I want to try to figure out what the beginning and ending frequency, the band that the coil full length covers, and then slowly step through going up and up in frequency, and see if I can document it. We've got what the instructions here tell us. Let's pull that up and look. We have this, you know, what it says it should be, but let me tell you, every time you build a coil, it doesn't come out the exact same. You know, I put this on a dowel, that might affect it a little bit. I just want to see how close we are and see where we are and kind of document down so I know which one's which. And, you know, maybe something has to get changed. Maybe it's dead on, I don't know. But I did those things. So I was saying what I've done off camera was I put the legs, the standoffs on the board. I went ahead and soldered the wires in for the coil. I went to the wife's hobby room, fired up the laser, and cut me a little board and did a little bit of etching on the board for me. And then what I did is drilled a hole in the bottom, countersunk it a little bit for a screw, and I've screwed this coil on. So I can get this coil right back off, although it's soldered to the board, but you know what I'm saying. So let me get the speaker set up here. I'll come back and we'll try this. Eventually what I'll do is put some epoxy and epoxy these legs down on this board. So, but let's see where we are first, see if this thing even works. So I will be right back with a set of speakers set up, and we'll find out whether it even works. Okay, I got the speakers set up. They're plugged in. We're ready to power this thing up. See if we let the smoke out. I got everything set to about halfway there. Turn the volume down. Turn this thing on. See, it's already on. I already had the switch in the on position. Okay. Not hearing anything. Well, we ain't getting no audio of any kind. No static, no. So, what do we got going on? Maybe we're not going to. Let's get a signal out. Let's set up 700 hertz. Let's put it about, where are we supposed to be on? 4.5 to 7. Let's go about 5, let's say. 5 megahertz. 0 dBm. That should work. That's a pretty strong signal. I would expect it to pick it up. So we're on. Got the regen about half. Volume turned up. Let's tune and see if we find anything. I'm not hearing anything. All these are off, right? Oh, I think my... There. I think that was the part. Oh, yeah. Pot sounds scratchy. Okay, now let's see what happens. We're on 5 megahertz. I'm not hearing anything. Let's turn her all the way to the bottom. Regen all the way up. Let me start going up frequency, see if we find it. No. There's some pops there. Oh, I don't have my modulation on. Ooh, goodness. I think we found our signal. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, we found our signal. That's us, right? Let's verify. Oh, that's us, yep. All right, there we are. Let's go to the frequency. Okay, turn this all the way to the bottom. I am. Okay, we're on the 40 windings, so we're on the bottom, the lowest frequency should be. And the best, I'm going up and down on the frequency, the RF. Looks like 5.8. So 5.8, what's the other end of my tuning? It should be higher. Here we come, I hear it. Okay, it's about 9.1. So 9.1. And what was it, 5.8 on the bottom? Let me go ahead and verify. So we're working. Okay. About 5.8. So we're high. Okay, here's what I'll do. Instead of making you go through all this, I'm going to just keep doing this. I'm going to switch the dip switch. So what I'll do is I'll throw dip switch 5, and that should change the tuning. Well, 5 didn't seem to make a big difference, but 4 did. So I will go through the dip switches and find out where the tune, where it is on each one of them for the band, write it down, and then I'll come back, show you what I found. We'll take a look at it and see where we are and see if we think we should do something to change it or what we should do. So I'll be right back. Okay, I completed that testing. And the only thing else I've done is I added a little SMA pigtail to be able to hook up to our antenna for testing. I did run into a problem. I want to talk about this, but let's talk about something else first. There is one thing when you're working on this, I ran into a big problem. I was switching these dip switches and things didn't make sense. Sometimes it wasn't changing frequencies, it didn't seem right. And I made a mistake, but I'm going to claim that I'm going to claim that it wasn't really my fault completely this time. Normally, I'd be happy to say, "Hey, I was being a dunce," but this is confusing, and this is the reason I'm pointing it out. If I made a mistake, I just tell you about it. You know, oh look, I plugged it here into B, and it should have been into A, but that's not what happened. This is something you need to be aware of if you're building this kit. They show you plugging the wires off the cold taps into the holes above the switches marked A through E. Okay. But when you look, you'll have the letter A, and I'm going to bring it up here and get it to where we can see it real well. If you look carefully in here, see how you have an A and you have two holes for each letter, and there's a little dash between them. Well, I went and looked underneath, and I thought it looked like maybe they were tied together. Why we had two, I didn't know. I had no idea why that was. But so I assumed it didn't really matter which one, so I went into the first one of each letter, A, B, C, D, E, okay? Here's the problem. Notice that I don't even have a wire in A this time, okay? Well, if you look over here, I don't have a wire in F over here. Well, you wouldn't have an F, it stops at E. But here's the problem. Flip the board over, get the microscope, and look very carefully, and what you find is it's not hooked up the way you'd think it'd be. In fact, the two A-holes don't even connect to the switch at all. So this is why I was having this problem. So if you build this kit, take time. If you want to use the dip switches and have the multi-band taps, turn the board over and make close attention to what holes hook to what switch pins on this board. It is not logically arranged. I can't even say, oh, well, just do this, because if you look very closely in there, you might be able to make out two of the wires, the blue and yellow, are right next to each other. Others are spaced apart. Doesn't appear to be much rhyme or reason to how that's laid out. You know, that was a little boo-boo on Pirate Pete's thing there. Look at that, pay attention, and wire it up correctly the first time, so you don't have to do like me, go back and unscrew your board, desolder everything, clean everything up, make out where things are actually ran, and hook it up correctly. Once I did that, no problem. The band switch worked just the way it's supposed to work. And we'll talk about, and now we're going to talk about how we worked out. So, little tidbit, little trap for young players, as our buddy Dave says. Okay, here's my sheet. Here's the cold tap. Of course, 40 means no switches are on, and of course 25 means that switch 5 is on, and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Here's what they claimed we should get with that. 4.5 on a full coil, 40 tap, 4.5 to 7. I got 5.6 to 8.7. So I'm a little high there. Okay, so of course we could do some tweaking. But wait, there's a problem. At 25, it's supposed to be 6 to 10. I get 6.8 to 10.7, not too bad. 15, it's 9 to 14. I'm 9 to 14. Oh, wait a minute, we're dead on that one. Isn't that odd? We're too high here, but we catch up here. 8, we're supposed to be 13 to 20. Well, I'm 11.8 to 18.6, so I'm low on. Now I'm going to be low. 5, I'm 19 to 28 is what they expected. I got 13.8 to 21.6, and 2 is 26 to 50, and I got 17.6 to 27.9. I can't get anywhere near 50. So, excuse me. That being the case, as you can see, I'm dead on right here at 15 taps, and I'm high below that, I'm low above that. So changing the coil is going to make one side or the other, no matter what you do, worse. I could get some higher frequencies in here by getting rid of some coils, but now these are going to go way up, which I don't want. If I added a little in there, I could get these to come down, but these would come even lower. So in reality, I think the best thing to do is just leave it right where it is. It's good enough. we're definitely going to be able to get in the range of the other receivers to be able to compare with the same station. So that's what we need. So here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to stop. It's early afternoon. As before, it's time to get over, hook up to the antenna, wait for this evening, and when the suns went down and the shortwave bands come up, we'll give this rascal a try and see how he does. It'll be the exact same conditions as with the 3 tube. Everything in the lab will be off. I'll be recording on the Pocket 3 little handy cam, so I don't have to have the camera running to run the cameras. And from there, we'll see how this does. So I'll see you in 5 or 6 hours. Okay, I'm back in the squeaky chair. We're over on the ham desk. We're going to turn on the new ham. I've got it hooked up to the same antenna. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Ooh, sorry about that.
Noticias AM, que transmitimos de lunes a viernes a partir de las 8 de la mañana, con la producción de Julio Lastra, como ingeniero de sonido Tony Simón, Jaime Almiral en la edición.
Okay, we'll pick up one of the strong Mexican stations, Spanish stations. Fine tuning works good.
Escaso Padilla. Y la medida en que esa carpeta se pone amarillenta con el paso del tiempo, amenaza con tragarse los poderosos. Through all these emanations. No, it's. You want it? I have it. I'm rich. I'm powerful. I want to do it. I wanted you from the beginning. I never wanted you to walk away. You just turn toward me. I'll do everything else. And all things. See, what they were doing in the days of the Colossians is they were mixing a little bit of Judaism and a little bit of Jesus and a little bit of Eastern mysticism and a little bit of Greek mythology and brewing their own religion. And Paul is saying, what are
Something in there. Too weak to pull out though. Okay, let's switch to a different coil tap. That was all 40. So let's make a change. your hands are too close to stuff, it makes differences. The fine tune does help though. A little bit of French. And we were picking that up on the 3-tube too. I don't think it picks up as strongly. It's not as sensitive as the 3-tube, I don't think. I don't think it picks up as many stations.
Se preocupam com o fato de ter por perto e que já morreu. E a conta o que acontece na morte. E a verdade é muito reconfortante. Se você está interessado em
Pretty weak in there. Okay. That's it. I would say it's not quite as sensitive. Doesn't pick up as many stations, I don't think, as the 3-tube. It's a neat little receiver. I like the fine tuning control. That's nice. That's a nice feature on it. It's harder to tune than the 3-tube. I don't think it picks up as many stations, but it does work, as you saw. We do have another working radio. There we go. I'm going to close this video out with this. Thanks for hanging in here with me as we finish this radio and test it out. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more of my videos, hit the little notify bell, and I hope to see you in the next video.